Baptism, as a symbolic token of the bondservant relationship with Jesus Christ, was restored through Joseph Smith. It is only natural that the restoration of the gospel instituted by the Savior at the meridian of time should include the same ordinances and the same contractual relationships in the latter days. When the Lord revealed the process for becoming baptized into His modern church, it included the same 5 elements of the process at the time of the apostles in both the Old World and the Promised Land. As in the church at the meridian of time, members of His latter-day church become His bondservants by taking a formal covenant of debt bondage through the ordinance of baptism. Indeed, the Lord calls those who join His church His servants. Female members of His church were and are called handmaids or handmaidens. On the eve of the killing of the firstborn of Egypt by the avenging angel, the Lord commanded that a feast be eaten. A male lamb without blemish was to be killed. Its blood was used to mark the doorpost to alert the avenging angel to pass over or spare that home. The flesh was to be consumed that night. The feast was to be kept through the generations of Israel upon that same night, as a ritual commemoration that God had freed Israel from the bondage of Egypt. The Lord also commanded that during the meal the story of how the Lord freed Israel be retold, reinforcing the idea that this was a ritual remembrance of Israel's liberation from bondage. With the new covenant and the new bondservant-to-master relationship, the oath of contract was transformed. Baptism became the formal contract for debt bondage to Jesus Christ. Similarly, the memorial for debt bondage was changed. Where under the law of Moses, Israel commemorated their liberation from bondage to the Egyptians in the form of a ritual feast, a new ritual feast was instituted to commemorate the liberation of all mankind from the bondage of sin. It was called the Lord's Supper. The new memorial feast, appropriately enough, was instituted at the celebration of the old. It was at this point that Jesus changed both the meaning of the meal and its performance. The Joseph Smith restoration of the original text of Matthew clarifies the intent of the new ordinance. Passover feast no longer commemorated the liberation of Israel from Egyptian bondage. It was now the Lord's Supper, commemorating man's liberation from the bondage of sin. This new ordinance was to be kept even unto the end.